February 2nd, 1949. A Greyhound bus traveling the wrong way slammed head-on into Ben Hogan's car at full speed. The steering column pierced straight through the driver's seat. Doctors said he'd never walk again, but 16 months later, Ben Hogan won the US Open. This is the story of golf's greatest comeback. Ben Hogan was at the peak of his career. 2 weeks earlier, his face had been on the cover of Time magazine. In 1948, he'd won 2 major championships, the US Open and the PGA Championship. At 36 years old, Hogan was the best golfer in the world. On February 2nd, 1949, Ben and his wife Valerie were driving home to Fort Worth after a tournament in Phoenix. It was early morning. Dense fog covered Highway 80 near Van Horn, Texas. Visibility was nearly zero. Then out of the fog, headlights appeared, heading straight for them. A Greyhound bus, running late and trying to pass a truck, had crossed into the wrong lane. The bus hit the Hogan's Cadillac head-on at full speed. In that split second, Ben Hogan made a decision that saved his life. He dove across his wife Valerie to protect her. The steering column smashed through the driver's seat, exactly where Hogan had been sitting 1 second earlier. If he hadn't moved, he would have been killed instantly. Valerie was trapped but conscious. Ben lay motionless on her lap. For a terrifying moment, she thought he was dead. When the ambulance finally arrived, 90 minutes later, the doctors assessed the damage. It was catastrophic. Double fracture of the pelvis, fractured collarbone, broken left ankle, broken ribs. Damage to his internal organs, damage to his left eye. He was rushed to a hospital in El Paso. Early reports said Ben Hogan had been killed. When the truth came out that he'd survived, it made international headlines. Doctors said he might survive, but they were clear. Ben Hogan would never walk again, and he would definitely never play golf. But then, things got worse. After 2 weeks in the hospital, doctors expected Hogan to recover slowly. But on day 14, severe chest pain started. Blood clots had formed in his legs. One clot broke off and traveled to his lung. Ben Hogan was dying. Again. A specialist was flown in from Tulane University. Dr. Alton Oxner performed a 2-hour emergency surgery, tying off the main vein that carries blood from the lower body to the heart, the vena cava. The surgery saved his life, but it guaranteed he'd have severe circulatory problems and chronic pain in his legs for the rest of his days. Ben Hogan spent 59 days in that El Paso hospital. He dropped from 137 pounds to under 120. When he finally went home in March, he couldn't walk without assistance. A return to professional golf seemed impossible. But nobody told Ben Hogan that. 11 months after the crash, Ben Hogan shocked the world. In January 1950, he entered the Los Angeles Open, his first tournament since the accident. His legs were wrapped in bandages. He couldn't walk 18 holes without excruciating pain, but he played anyway. After 72 holes, Hogan was tied for the lead with Sam Snead. They went to an 18-hole playoff. Hogan's legs gave out from the pain, and Snead won. But Hogan had just proved the impossible. 4 months later, June 1950, Hogan entered the US Open at Merion Golf Club in Pennsylvania. It became known as the Miracle at Merion. Hogan played through unbearable pain. His legs swelled. Every step hurt, but he kept going. After 72 holes, he tied for the lead again. Another playoff. This time, Ben Hogan won. 16 months after doctors said he'd never walk, Ben Hogan was the US Open champion. That was just the beginning. In 1951, Hogan won the Masters and the US Open. In 1953, at age 40, he won 3 majors in 1 year: the Masters, the US Open, and the British Open. It's called the Hogan Slam. After the crash, Ben Hogan won 6 more major championships, more than he'd won before the accident. Years later, Hogan said something haunting. "I was better in 1948 and 1949 than I ever was." The crash had robbed him of his physical peak, but it gave him something else, a will that couldn't be broken. Oh, and the bus driver. He was found responsible for the crash. His punishment? A $127 fine. Later that year, the same driver was involved in another bus crash, killing 2 people and injuring 34. But Ben Hogan, he became a legend. The greatest comeback in golf history. What do you think? Drop a comment. Like and subscribe for more incredible golf stories.